let's
So
move
we got
on.
on a huge tangent there because, again, MDickie makes a lot of wrestling games, so it's
Yes.
really easy to get lost. He has made other games too. He made a game called Sure Shot, which was like a shooter game. He also made a Star Wars edition of that, which I'm sure that was highly illegal, and he, probably he gives it away for free, so I guess it's how he got away with it without getting copyrighted.
Yeah, I guess because if he's not making any money, then there's no reason to go after him.
Right.
He has
but
family. He has Family Christmas.
He's got tons of games, like
a bunch of them.
The guy's career spans almost 20 years. He's retired several times, but then got back into it. He retired, I believe, in 2009.
I feel like every time he retires, he comes back because like somebody else discovers his games and like they start going crazy again.
Yeah, and well, he also apparently at the time, so he retired in 2009 from making games, but then he started actually doing some other stuff, making some educational resources. But then in 2012, he was unemployed. He was getting ready to buy his first home and await the birth of his first child. So he had to come out of retirement, and he started making mobile games. And basically, the mobile games he was just porting or making new like mobile versions of his past games. So there's like Hard Time, which he made like a 3D version for mobile. So I think that's also it's available on iPhone, Android, that whole thing. He also made a game, or the New Testament he made, which again was a 2D version of that.
And Jesus.
Yeah, and you play as Jesus.
What is he? Here's his description for that one. 10 years before it became the most popular game of its kind ever made, the 3D original My Biblical Epic was condemned as the worst game ever made. I had always engaged with religion through entertainment like movies, music, and books, and never quite understood why interactive games had to be left out of the loop. I passionately believed there was a good game to be made about this fascinating period, and these were my first steps toward making it palatable, oh god, not just for myself, but as a canary in the coal mine for whoever else might want to broaden the horizons of the genre. As with all my 3D adventures, it was harder to depict sprawling outdoor environments in this format, but it was my best attempt yet, featuring malleable terrain littered with plants and trees. The relentless criticism didn't do justice to how difficult it was to create a 3D RPG on this scale and find creative ways to tell a complicated story, such as Jesus chokeslamming people. Many of these issues have been ironed out by the time the 2D coming hit mobiles. Oh, the second, okay.
Yeah, I get it. The 2D coming, the second coming, yeah.
But this was an important step in thinking the unthinkable. Okay.
Yeah, so I think it was described when it came out originally as the best worst game ever, and I think that could be kind of applied to.
He retired from one of the. I think he retired like the first or second time from like after the New Testament came out.
Yeah, it was the first time he retired.
He did that in 3 months?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, the guy's a powerhouse. I mean, say what you want about his games, but the fact that he pumped out so many and, like, again, by himself, did everything by himself, it's pretty impressive. There's a lot of indie developers where it's just one guy in his bedroom or his garage doing it, but, they're sitting there for years making their one perfect game. This guy, I guess, maybe believed more in quality over quantity, quantity over quality, I should say. The games they're fun, cute little. It's like watching a bad movie.
Yeah.
When you watch Con Air or you watch The Running Man, you're not watching it because you want to see like a Shakespearean performance and great writing. You're watching it because you just want to like turn your brain off for a couple hours and enjoy something. And I think it's the same thing with MDickie games. Like they're not like the greatest games ever made. They're not super well developed and stuff, but they're fun to play. And they're silly, So again, it's something you could just kind of like sit there, turn your brain off, and just like have a good time. And if anybody's that's played the old N64 or PlayStation wrestling games, this is like that now. he's basically taken that and the essence of those games and brought it into like a more modern setting. I haven't had a chance to play the Nintendo Switch version, which like I said before, is a little bit more refined. He put a little bit more work into it. But I think it's his games in general are just they're fun. They're not the greatest thing ever, but they're fun.
Sorry, I'm just counting this. Holy crap. He's made 51 games.
Yeah. Yeah, he's,
That's amazing. Consistently for 20 years.
Yeah, that's, it's pretty good. And, again, mobile games, he got into the mobile game scene, it has done now Wrestling Empire on the console.
I kind of want to play CM Punk's promo cutter.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Holy
a lot of his games early games were based off of wrestlers too. Like on one of his original PC games, actually the second one that came out after he made Hardy Boy's Stunt Challenge was The Rock's promo cutter. So he's also made Concerto,
which is obviously a play on the Edge and Christian tag team finisher, in which they would take two chairs and hit the person with it from opposite sides.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's
That's
obviously
crazy.
His games are not for everyone. People that are expecting some kind of like AAA game are going to think they're stupid or bad, but I like them. I've played Hard Time and I've played Wrestling Empire.
I've played those two also. I mean, honestly, it is what you said. It's like watching a terrible bad B movie or like C movie or whatever. Like it's like watching the Toxic Avenger or like a Trauma movie where you know that it's bad, you know that it's not a good movie, you know that it's going to be very silly, and you're watching it specifically to entertain yourself.
Yes,
it's
fun.
You're laughing you're watching it to laugh and to turn your brain off, and that's why you're playing this, to laugh and to turn your brain off.
Yeah, and I think it's a problem a lot in the world of gaming, especially when it comes to game journalism, because we all know that's friggin' awful. Is that there's no one can kind of like have fun. Everything's going to be so serious and it's like. The games are supposed to be fun, and this guy has captured that. He's made fun games. Yeah, they're not great, but they're fun to play, and that's the whole point of a video game, is to have fun. So, we've gotten into this kind of I think especially since games became more mainstream in the last 10 or 15 years or so, is that games have to be almost like movies. They have to be big budget, and they have to have the greatest graphics, and no one cares if the gameplay is bad if it looks good, right? It's no. It's I want to play games that have fun. I'd rather play a game that has bad graphics but amazing gameplay than a game that has amazing graphics and shitty, boring gameplay.
Yeah.